And welcome back to the Hotline. We're talking the WRC rated and slated drivers. Yes, we have Safari Kenya now in the history books, or WRC Kenya, if you will, to an Elfyn Evans victory. But is he going to make the man of the weekend, the driver, well, not really of the race, but the driver of the rally, I can't think of anything else. I was gonna try and be clever, but no. So, I mean, with the help also of Dirtfish, who have also brought out their driver ratings, let's have a look then. So, who is last in this big rally debate? Well, sadly, it's this guy here, Takamoto Katsuta. He was going to be so good. He would look so fast. He's had such a good one, and I still think he has a good one. He's shown he's got some speed, and I think he started this season off absolutely immense. If he continues as he went in Sweden, for example, brilliant. I mean, that's the closest he's ever come to winning a rally. But this is Safari Kenya, and he was given the green light by Toyota to absolutely push on the last day, so we're told. This is in spite almost of a Mr. Rovanpera's retirement, and we thought, you know, Sweden, he did really well. He didn't, did he? He did a whoops-a-daisy. He did a roll. It cost him dearly. He damaged his car so much he couldn't even get back. Well, he made it to the end of the rally, but didn't make it to the station, so to speak, and was pretty much out of the rally. Massively disappointing for Takamoto Katsuta. Next up, though, is, I think, somebody's favourite Frenchman, but not our favourite Frenchman, at least. He has been in the past, but not necessarily for this rally. And it is, drumroll, you probably already guessed it, it is Adrian Formeau. Now, this is in spite of what was an absolutely amazing Sunday. He claimed 10 points on that Sunday, but like Dirtfish says, it comes with a caveat that Hyundai designed his rally strategy to do that. It was destined for him to do after the absolute disaster leading up to Sunday. He showed the speed that he could, like Taka, be a WRC winner soon. However, maybe a lot of people criticised him from deciding to stop and change the puncture he suffered on, was it Camp Moran 2? And ultimately that did also lead to suspension damage instead of continuing. It could have yielded him overall points too, though, sadly. So, yeah, not particularly great. But next up, who is next is one of the M Sport drivers, and it's not Munster. It is Josh McLaren. So, what have we got to say about Josh? Well, he is determined. I think ultimately, come the end of the year, he's going to be the better driver compared to Munster, if I had to bet the house on it. He was impressive with his changing his steering arm during his stage after it broke on Saturday. It was fairly speeded. And yes, it was rain assisted, but he was second fastest stage time in the afternoon on Saturday, which was nice. And to be fair to him, he didn't really put a foot wrong all weekend. So I think he can look in the mirror and be absolutely proud. And I think this guy can be quite proud as well, because let's be fair, everyone had moments in the Safari Rally, in the Kenya Rally, where they were absolutely 10 out of 10 in that particular moment. Gregor Monster had his as well. So he does rank higher than McLaren. He got a stage win on the test where, yes, once again, benefited with the rain. Secondly, he dealt really well, as we mentioned yesterday, with the heartbreak of his granddad the day before the rally started. That must have been in his head. And even his boss, Richard Milner, wasn't aware that it had happened until I think he mentioned it after. So, once again, thoughts are with you, Mr. Monster. Yes, we did say we think maybe McLaren will come out on top between the two of you, but prove us wrong. I mean, I've been eating humble pie for a bit because of Monster this year so far. So, I'd like to very much carry on with that humble pie, because I do believe it. I do like to be proven wrong. Especially when I say Monster's going to have a bad weekend and he ends up winning a stage, or even getting on a podium. I don't think that's completely out of the question for either of the M Sport drivers this year. Yes, they're probably going to need a smidgen of luck, but you never know. So I'm searching for the next guy, and the next guy is Terry Neuville. So he is the world champion, yet his Safari jinx continues sort of, but he is on the podium in Kenya. So it's not one of his best ever performances. It's not going to be a top 10 Adrian Neuville performance. He was feeling particularly unwell on Saturday, kind of like Takamoto Katsuta was feeling particularly unwell. But he was also dogged with problems. So I think, I don't think he has done I don't think he's done too bad. Next up, we have just off the performance podium. And I'm trying to find him on my list, but it's this guy here. We predicted him to win the rally. May have done. He was up there at times, and he did deserve a lot more than what he ultimately got. He was at one point within 10 seconds of Elfyn Evans. 10 seconds of the rally lead. And he paid what ended up being a quite high price for hitting a rock that broke his suspension on that Saturday afternoon. But again, to be fair, nobody else hit it. But even though it reminded me a bit of the Finland rally, when at the last hurdle it was just a whoopsie daisy. It was not particularly great. Next up, we have the rookie, Sami Piari. So he did have a plan. It was drive to survive, if you excuse the pun. He equalled his best result, albeit it did have a major Japanese assist on that final stage with Katsuta rolling the car. But still, he drove, I think, for him, a very steady and solid rally. Yes, he didn't really trouble the stage times, but it was about survival. The S word. That's what even the commentators were saying over the rally weekend. And he kept his head down, and he had a decent haul of points, didn't he? So, who ended up finishing second? You probably guessed it. It's going to be one of two people. But it's not Elfyn Evans. So, you're thinking it's got to be this guy here. Yeah, what a rally he had. Arguably, I mean, amazingly fast on some of the splits. And he didn't win, though. He was ahead at one point by 45 seconds. And it so easily could have been Tanak's all over. But sadly, he had that drive shaft failure on Friday afternoon. And sadly, it kind of left that gap a bit too big, even for Tanak abilities to end up beating Elfyn Evans. And speaking of Elfyn Evans, the guy that is the man of the rally. Yeah, I mean, he's doing a good job. He won. I guess it is boring naming him the winner, but it was pretty much a faultless drive. And it's a rally he didn't have to win. And he wasn't really setting every stage time alight. He was just doing enough, being steady, kind of like Sami Piari. I don't know what more you need from this guy, but well done. Absolutely well done, Elfyn Evans. You are the man of the rally. You've done absolutely fantastic. And there we go. That is our WRC Rally Kenya. I'm sure lots more news coming out of Rally Kenya, which we'll probably get into as we go through this week. But until then, stay safe. Speak to you soon, and thank you very much for watching.